Politicians have lost the faith of the people. The Haitians lost their beloved and trusted leader, Archbishop Maillot, who, along with 30 other seminarians, died and the country's main cathedral collapsed upon him. Scores of local parishes strove to maintain some semblance of order as the people looked to their parish priests and sisters for guidance. Our convoluted travel arrangements mandated our group actually be under the aegis of the Vatican, not the U.S. government. If anything were to happen to us, the Vatican was responsible for getting us home. Morbid as it may sound, yet given the frequency and the randomness of the earthquake's aftershocks, we were told to write our passport numbers with a Sharpie on our legs for identification purposes in case anything were to happen to us. Thirdly, we had to have a defined way to get home, a simple detail one would think. Yet with the loss of all commercial flights, many unlucky individuals spent days on the hot tarmac begging a flight home from Port-au-Prince, and I couldn't risk that with the 1,400 individuals under my guard. We had to schedule a solid time and departure before we ever left. We begged supplies from hospitals, drug companies, anyone who would donate something that could possibly help. So with what I thought were all the bases covered, with the help of Mission Flights International, we landed in Port-au-Prince. Not to be proud, but I thought that given my past experiences in third world countries that I would be ready for anything that I would encounter. I was dead wrong. As we hit the ground, the painful sounds and noxious smells of human suffering and death far surpassed the sterile sights seen on TV. Due to the unpredictable aftershocks, the streets were filled with people who were afraid to go back into any structure that remained standing. The oppressive heat was inescapable. The smells often choked us. We landed into a city overtaken by relief workers from all over the globe. In our compound alone, there were teams from Italy, Canada, Turkey, France, and even Slovakia. We camped in tents on the hospital compound and set out what we came to do. As a team, we worked nonstop for 9 days, operating, tending to the sick, delivering basic food and water to those cut off from supplies. We repaired what we could and amputated what we could not. This may seem cold and foreign to some, but faced with a lack of any reliable resources, we had to make some hard decisions as to what these poor people, who would have little access to any long-term medical care, could expect for their future. A few lucky individuals who needed more care than we were able to give were able to be shipped off to medical centers in the U.S. And still the poor, the innocent, the afflicted just kept coming and coming. With great sorrow, we buried scores of the unnamed, the unclaimed, and the unidentifiable dead. The threat of communicable disease was rampant, and there were no facilities for the cold storage of bodies. The dead had to be buried quickly. The stench of rotting corpses overtook us at times. There were no means of identifying and cataloging the countless bodies. So many parents will never know what happened to their children, and many children will never feel the loving touch of their mother ever again. The fabric of so many families lay torn to shreds amidst the rubble. We were able to help many, repairing broken bones, fitting many with casts, arranging for artificial limbs to be fitted at a later date. But still, so many suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, having witnessed their own personal apocalypse. Sadly enough, for a few others whose injuries surpassed our capabilities, the best we could do was sit with them and pray with them for a merciful death. We felt impotent when we realized that while we could fix broken bones, we could not fix broken hearts. There were simply not the resources available to every man, woman, and child who needed it. This was truly a war zone, yet with an unforeseen and unforgivable enemy. With great reluctance, and only because we had committed time for our departure, we left on our borrowed DC-3 and left 9 days later, exhausted. We left whatever we could behind for those in need. Our Coleman tents became the new homes for people who no longer had one, our sleeping bags the permanent bedding for those who had nothing to rest their head upon. We participated in an event that I am sure will be unique in our lives. Each of us, and the way we look at our world, were changed forever. We witnessed many people of many nationalities giving what they could to reach out to a land so decimated, a people so devastated. The experience both damaged us and healed us, all in some way. Yet this particular journey for me did not begin with an earthquake. It actually began here at Davidson College some 25 years ago. It was here that I was first baptized into the passion of foreign medical work. I was fortunate enough to be a Stewart Scholar and given the opportunity to create a summertime experience abroad. Through a series of events, I ended up in a Catholic leprosy hospital in Bihar, the poorest state of India, just north of Calcutta. At the inexperienced age of 20, I would spend a summer working with another group of unfortunate victims, leprosy patients, both young and old, tortured by physical deformities and social isolation. It was in that experience that I learned, as St. Francis said, it is in giving that we receive. And while I did little more than bandage wounds in India, I received an enlightenment that has guided me to this day. That experience, along with the wonderful world exposures that I received here at Davidson some 25 years ago, similar to ones that you experience here now, ignited a fire in me to use what tools that I have been blessed with to help those less fortunate, to answer their call. Over those years, I've been led to places like Swaziland, Jamaica, Nicaragua, and as President Ross says, with Dr. Putnam's pre-medical group, to Kenya. In all those experiences, one common theme resonates. Whether we believe healthcare is a right or a privilege, whether we believe in an all-loving God or we believe in nothing at all, we cannot deny the common thread of humanity that calls us to care for and be responsible for one another. As a people of conscience, it is not deniable. It is not negotiable. So whether it involves writing a check to a local or a global charity, or dropping everything to go live in a tent and operate by a flashlight, or merely dropping to your knees in silent prayer to pray for those less fortunate, we are all called to attend to those in need. Now, you don't have to abandon the dreams and hopes of living in a civilized world to participate in this most worthy endeavor. You don't have to run off, join the Peace Corps, eat bugs, and live in a tent. It just takes an individual, heartfelt commitment to acknowledge that to whom much is given, much is expected. We have all been given so much. Right now, as we sit in this beautiful constructed theater, hundreds and thousands of Haitians live with little more than a leaky, poorly ventilated tarp over their heads to shield them from the scorching sun and the uncaring elements. Hundreds are now dying every day from cholera outbreaks that ravage a people with little access to clean water in these tent cities, accommodations born out of necessity in a world that has literally crumbled around them. Their world of hell surely did not end the day I left. It was only just beginning. You and I live in a world of so much. Yet I have heard the excuse many times before. What can I do? I'm just one individual. What I would do would just be a drop in the bucket. Yet drop by drop, that bucket gets filled. And person by person, individual lives are transformed. If by giving of yourself you have helped just one individual, then you have answered their call. We can't rely on the world's governments to do this. After the earthquake, $5.3 billion was pledged worldwide to help Haiti. As of August the 1st, less than 2% of this money had been given to the UN-backed body to handle it. Less than 2%. Massive bureaucracies and mistrust in the present political structure of Haiti have paralyzed political relief efforts. And yet, the people still suffer. One more remembrance before I end. Father Rick, with whom I communicate regularly and have become good friends, told me of a young woman driven up to St. Damian's in the back of a pickup truck 2 weeks after we left. She was in the throes of labor, yet oddly enough, fighting against the delivery of her child with every fiber she had. You may ask, why would a woman do such a thing? Why would she try to prevent her own child from being born? Despair. She said that she was fighting because as long as the child stayed in her womb, she could keep it safe and protected. She did not want her to bring her child into the hell that her homeland had become. 16 hours later, exhausted to the point of collapse, she finally gave birth to a baby girl. After she recovered and witnessed the beauty of her newborn infant, after seeing how much the hospital staff cared for her and cared for her baby amidst all of the outside tragedy, she named her daughter Hope. There is hope. In 34 seconds, the lives of millions of individuals was changed forever. You and I each have a lifetime to answer the call to change the lives